Welcome to Michael's Record Collection. I am really excited to talk some Kiss this week. And if I couldn't get anybody from the band to be on, and let's be honest, I didn't try, the next best thing is having Tom and Zeus from the Shout It Out Loudcast along for the ride. Tom and Zeus, thank you for your time, guys.
Wow, Michael, that's quite an introduction. Thank you, my friend. We're excited to be here. This is going to be a lot of fun. Love talking Kiss, as you know.
Yeah, we're here to talk about Love Gun. It is 45 years old this year. Before we get to that, I want to talk about your show because one of the things that I've found in probably 5 years ago or so is that your love of anything can be enhanced by finding the right podcast, people who love the stuff that you love, and listening to them talk about it and get guests on and talk about it. And I like your show a lot. Shout It Out Loudcast. Tell me about the origin of this show.
Yeah, I'll take this one, Tom. This is quite simple. Back in 91, I go to Stonehill College. I meet this guy over here, and he lives in the same kind of corridor as I do. And everybody's getting into this new thing called alternative music. It wasn't called grunge then. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, I think it was Hot in the Shade that got pulled out. Mm-hmm. And it's like, holy shit, you like Kiss too? And then bing. And then we lived together in the same vicinity for 4 years. We always had our love of music, but we shared that Kiss part together, mm-hmm. more so than anybody else there. And then we just continued staying close friends all the way through college, then getting our first jobs and all that stuff. And we always had that connection of Kiss. So back even in college, our junior year, we put on the Paint. That was 94, before mm-hmm. they did the reunion.
That's right.
And we were proud, but I think everyone else is looking at us like, what the hell is wrong with these people? And then we went to the reunion concert together. And throughout time, we always connected to that Kiss conversation. At one point, jokingly, he said, like, we should do something, I think, about a podcast or something. I had no idea what podcasts were. Tom is an avid runner, so he got into podcasts. And then he was telling me, listen to these Kiss podcasts. I'm like, people talk about Kiss, and I could just pick it up and listen to it. I started doing it. And then just as our favorite band says, we said the same thing. We want to do a podcast that we want to listen to. Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. Yeah. And I remember the conversation exactly. Like Zeus said, we would text all the time, making jokes about Kiss or lyrics or Paul Stanley or whatever. Yeah. And all of a sudden the conversation is like, this could be an episode on our podcast. And the conversation that we started to have was, and this actually was our first proper episode, was our favorite Kiss songs that were never released on a compilation or a greatest hits album. So we just started talking about that. And then one of us, it might have been Zeus, said, that'd be a great first episode. I'm like, for what? He's like, a podcast. I'm like, well, how do we do that? And then it just, here we are 4 years later, and we love the band. And it was funny. And the timing was incredible because right as the show launched is kind of when Kiss launched the End of the Road tour.
It was.
So because when we launched the show, Kiss was kind of not really on the radar. They weren't really doing anything. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like a really weird timing that, okay, we're going to launch a show. And Kiss is now in the mainstream news and the rock news with the End of the Road tour.
Yeah, they're big now. So 4 years you've been doing this. How many shows have you done?
Well, I'm editing and not done yet. Episode 186 as we speak.
Yep.
We got 33 episodes of the album review crew where we just review different albums from different artists. We do that once a month. And then we also have 3 episodes so far of our Zeppelin Chronicles, where we're just going through the discography of Zeppelin. And I think we finished Zeppelin 2 a couple of months back. That's a long-term project. We're not going to finish that fast because you can't wing a Zeppelin review. You got to put your time into it because you will get destroyed. So we've been working on those, and we have a bunch of other things coming up. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at because we're always, what do I always say, Tom? We're like a shark. We're always moving forward, always moving, always growing.
We love talking music. We love talking to each other. We love hearing the sound of our own voice sometimes. So, but this has become an outlet for us to talk about all these things. So that's what makes the podcasting community so awesome.
Yeah. I want to go back to many years before Zeus asked you, "Do you like Kiss?"
I think I said it just like that. Too.
Nice.
And Tom, we'll start with you. What is
Yeah.
your Kiss origin story? When did you first hear Kiss? How did you discover this band?
Well, you couldn't have asked me to be on a better episode because Love Gun is my gateway into Kiss. So my origin story is this. So I have a couple of cousins that are older than me. We're probably talking, let's see, 10 years. I think the oldest one, I think they're 8 and 10 years older than me. And they live in southern Maine. We used to go up there for the summer. They live in like the beach area, so they live there year round. And I remember I was 5 years old. Love Gun came out in 77. This was summer of 78. I remember this. And I used to just go into the younger of my cousin. I used to go into his room, and he had stacks of LPs on the floor. And this was obviously in the heyday of amazing album art, flipping through. And I remember seeing like Boston debut album, Molly Hatchet, Black Set, like bands. I didn't even know what I was looking at. I was just looking at amazing artwork.
Yeah.
And I flipped through and I saw Love Gun. And I said to my cousin, what is what is this? Like, this is scary and this is awesome and this is cool. What is this? He goes, oh, you could take that. It's Kiss. Like that. So that was always our running joke. It's like, you can just take that. It's Kiss. And I remember I took the album home, and my parents, they were really cool, really into music. So they kind of knew who Kiss was, because obviously that was the peak of them, 77, 78.
Yeah.
And I remember playing it and hearing like Gene's voice and just the music and then, Phantom of the Park comes out, and I was terrified of that movie. I was 5 years old. Gene, I still love Gene, but he always scared me. So Love Gun was the gateway. And it's funny because that album that I was flipping through, the 70, he had the 77 copy. This was summer 78. I still have that downstairs in my little Kiss cave. I have it framed. It still has the markings. When I was 5 years old, I took 2 pieces of Scotch tape and hung it on my wall.
Yeah,
so it's all about Love Gun. And we talk about this all the time on our show. Usually when you come into Kiss is that nostalgia. I know some people think Love Gun is overrated. Some people think it's the greatest. But for me, it's always going to be the most special thing to me as a Kiss fan, because that's where I started.
Yeah. Do you still have the actual fold-up cardboard Love Gun?
Well, not from that one. But in like subsequent remastered or re-releases, I think they did release that cardboard. I wish I had that original 77 cardboard gun, but I don't have that now.
Zeus, same question. What's your origin story for Kiss?
Similar to Tom, I was one of 7 cousins that would always hang out together. I think we're all between 4 and 8 years old in about the heyday of Kiss. All we did is play football, hockey, and fight and listen to music and get in trouble and do stupid things. One of them, the older, I always call my crazy older cousin Mike. I never forget it. I can remember his room. He had Spirit of 76 on his wall. That image is there. And Mike always was always the one that pushed. I would learn from, because he was the oldest of us. So he had Kiss. Next thing you know, we're all Kiss fans. I'm dressing up like Kiss for Halloween. We got the albums. I don't know how they ended up in our house. I assume our parents bought them, because at that point I was like 4 or 5 years old. My brother's 3 years older. And then everybody was like, I'm so-and-so, you're so-and-so, I'm so-and-so. And I was always Peter Criss. So I was into Kiss as a young kid. Stayed with them up until, I would say, the early 80s. And then I like to say, by that point, I'm like 7 or 8 years old. I outgrew them. They were too immature for a 7 or 8 year old.
Sure they were.
And then right before middle school, I went to visit that same cousin. They moved out to Michigan, and he's playing Animalize Live. And he's like, this is Kiss, you remember? And I'm like, that's Kiss. I see the big sign. I'm like, who's who? And he's telling me all about it. Go back home. Start buying stuff, get Asylum, get Animalized, start going through. And I'm like, wow, Ace Frehley looks different on the cover of Lick It Up. Like, wow. Like, and I'm starting to discover, you have the childhood memories. You don't really know a lot of the facts, but you remember that nostalgia you had for it. And then afterwards, when I got into music again, that music discovery you do as a middle schooler till present day today, that those bands that you fell in love with, Kiss was the first one I went right back to again. I started collecting as a, in junior high. So I've stayed with Kiss all the way through, and saw Tom, and Kiss has always been our kind of like our one connecting thing that, the guy that you see over on the hallway and you look at him, he's got a Kiss shirt, and you both nod head like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's our band.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's been there throughout my whole life, basically.
Yeah. My origin story with Kiss is, I think I'm about 5 or 6 years older than you, Tom, and I recall seeing a Paul Lynde Halloween special.
Oh yeah.
That Kiss was on. I had no idea what was going on. I saw these guys in makeup singing and playing instruments, and I was mesmerized. I was blown away. I clocked that their name was Kiss, and I loved the songs. And then because it was 70s television and I was a kid, I assumed I'm never going to see this again anywhere because it's TV. And once it's over with, it's gone. There's no TiVo. There's no DVR. There's none of that stuff. There's no on demand. There's no YouTube. There's no YouTube. And, and then I think it was probably 6 months after that my buddy Scott, I was at his house, you spend the night with your friend. He pulls out this record, and it's Kiss Alive. And puts it on, and we just listened to that over. We listened to it through, and I said, "Play it again." And we have to play it again. And we just listened to it all night, and we literally did rock and roll all night. Yep. And it was that was my gateway. That was the first record that I got that I asked my parents for, and up until then, I had this little Sears stereo all in one unit, and it was my parents buying me K-Tel records, stuff that was top 40 or rock songs that were just kind of compilations, and they're all basically have a minute shaved off of them, so you can throw 20 original hits by the original stars on it and stuff like that.
Yep.
So from that point on, I was going forward with Kiss. I started with Kiss Alive. I got I started to get all the albums, and it was actually years before I went back and heard the first 3 records and went, this doesn't sound like Firehouse and Strutter and Deuce. What is going on here?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I think a lot of us, that's a great way, a great way to put it is like a lot of us, we talked about this, like Zeus and I, and when we have guests on our show, sometimes you kind of work your way backwards in the catalog, depending on where you come in. Like I know, Love Gun was it for me. And then after that, pretty much every Christmas, birthday, or whatever it was, then it was Alive 2, Double Platinum, Dynasty. Yeah. All those, but then you go back, you start to, go to different friends' houses. And, I remember somebody had the Destroyer 8-track, and I'm like, whoa, this cover is almost better than the Love Gun album cover. What's on this? And you hear the introduction to Detroit Rock City. And then when you hear those first albums, you're like, this doesn't sound like Detroit Rock City. This doesn't sound like I Stole Your Love. This band sounds completely different, and then all of a sudden you start to explore the band, and you're like, this is really cool. They do a lot of different things and all of it is different and all of it is cool. And you could still say the same thing about them today like that, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
What's interesting is when I went back after I had that little break, the nostalgia I had, it usually seems that a lot of people our age is always for the middle albums.
Yeah, those middle 3.
When I got back and I'm like, oh, I remember what Love Gun sounds like. I remember the keyboards of Christine 16. And then I got Alive, because Alive. And I'm like, I don't even know any of these songs. How is this the most popular album? I don't know. Because it was before the era where the kiddies came involved in Kiss. Right. And so I'm like, what is this? They mean Alive too, don't they? Because we all remember that image.
Yep.
I'm like, Alive? What is this?
So Zeus, your favorite member is Peter.
Yes.
And Tom, I'm not sure I remember who yours is.
I've been a Gene guy since day one. Yep. Okay. Yep. Absolutely. Gene all the way. And we're
Happy
recording.
Birthday.
I was just going to say, we're recording on his birthday right now, August 25th. That's right.
Serendipity.
Yep. That's right.
I was always an Ace guy, but not a cult of Ace.
Okay.
I'm not in the Ace cult, but I just thought his makeup was cooler and his outfit was cooler. I like the smoking guitar. And of course, I just always was into the Guitar Heroes when I was a kid. So I gravitated toward Ace. And of course, he ended up being a pretty major screw up for a lot of his life. Some would say he still is, but yeah, I like Ace, but I'm not one of those that thinks he could do no wrong.
Thanks,
I think
Michael. Thanks.
Thanks, brother. I think I gravitated toward Gene. I have a sister that's 4 years older than me. So when I discovered Kiss, around 5, my sister was, 9 or 10, that age. And that was, that late 70s and especially the early 80s, like, on TV, and then like the advent of cable, there was like a lot of horror stuff. And, my sister being 4 years old, and I'm like, Gene is so scary. The makeup, the tongue, the blood, the fire. I'm like, nothing is cooler than this. Everybody else is doing cool stuff, but nobody does anything better than Gene. And of course, the growl and, the demon. I'm like, this is cool. And I was terrified. My mom still laughs about it. She's like, I remember you used to hang up the poster that came with Dynasty of them with the 4 and with Gene with that menacing glare, and even the cover of Dynasty. I got that album. It came out in 79. I got that for Christmas. And I remember I'm like, this is so cool. I don't want to look at it anymore. Take it away.
Yeah. He freaked me out a little bit. I will admit to that.
Yep.
But yeah, it was, I just think there was something, and you guys grew up in the Northeast. I grew up in Ohio, and I think in the Midwest, I think it was mandatory that you had to have Kiss Alive, Kiss Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, and Love Gun. That had to be in your record collection. In fact, I had Love Gun on. My first copy of Love Gun was on 8-track.
Oh, wow, nice. Nice.
I wish I still had it, but I don't.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're here to talk about Love Gun. This one right here. I've got this in my new vinyl collection. I had an old vinyl collection that bit the dust years ago when I went 15 years without a turntable. I've got one recently. This is the Walmart special exclusive aqua and tangerine aqua splatter.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have a more you might call this a more compact version of Love Gun. But this one came out June 30th, 1977 on Casablanca Records, just a tad over 45 years old. The 6th album came between Rock and Roll Over and Alive 2 in the chronology, but also if you're just counting studio albums, the next one was Dynasty in 1979. As you mentioned, we're recording this on Gene Simmons' 73rd birthday. So I know you're watching, Gene, or you're listening to the podcast, one or the other. You have to be. So happy birthday to you, Gene.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Produced by Kiss and Eddie Kramer, who was a legend. He had done previous work with Kiss, obviously, and he was much in demand after Kiss Alive for every live album that any rock band ever did. The iconic cover you mentioned from Ken Kelly, who also did Destroyer. He just passed away 28 days before this album turned 45, so that's sad.
Mm-hmm.
And it was certified platinum by the RIAA. No, it went to number 4 on the U.S. Billboard 200 chart, and number 2 in Japan, number 3 in Canada, 6 in Sweden, 13 in Australia, and 18 in Germany. And it received 2 remasterings, one in 97, one in 2014, when it got the deluxe edition treatment, with liner notes from Def Leppard vocalist Joe Elliott. Had some demos, live rarities, and a Gene interview. But I don't know what they did to the 97 remaster. Do you happen to know that?
That one, I'm not sure exactly what the remaster, what was officially remastered on that. That one I'm not sure about. But the deluxe version that you mentioned, that was a nice surprise. I'm just a little bit pissed that for the 45th anniversary, they didn't put some kind of collection like that on vinyl. Maybe not a full-blown box set like they're doing with Destroyer, like they do with Destroyer and potentially doing with Creatures of the Night, but I would have liked something a little bit more to celebrate this album, including those demos and some of those outtakes on that deluxe edition. I thought were pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been putting off getting Destroyer's deluxe edition because I want to get the vinyl, the double vinyl, but I also want the Blu-ray. I want to hear the Steven Wilson 5.1 surround, because Steven Wilson does phenomenal surround sound work, and I'm mad that I can't just buy that Blu-ray.
Yeah, but if you buy the whole set, you won't be disappointed. Believe me, it's incredible. Sure. It is incredible.
Just for the inserts.
Yeah, all the goodies, all the fun little things. It's
incredible.
It's a great collection.
Yeah. Every time I buy something like that, I have to buy a shadow box for all the stuff that comes with it.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that comes in that one. Yeah.
You're going to be impressed.
Yeah. All right. So the personnel, obviously, Paul Stanley, vocals, rhythm guitar. He played the first guitar solo on I Stole Your Love and bass on Love Gun, which I just found that out and it blew me away because I had already written down in my notes about the bass part in Love Gun being really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Gene Simmons, vocals, bass, rhythm guitar on Christine 16, and Got Love for Sale, Peter Criss, drums and vocals. This was the last album that Peter played on all the songs.
Mm-hmm.
And Ace Frehley, lead guitar, vocals, all guitars and bass on Shock Me. So there you go. Additional personnel, Eddie Kramer played keyboards on Christine 16, Love Gun, and I Stole Your Love. The backing vocals on Tomorrow and Tonight were Tasha Thomas, Ray Simpson, and Hilda Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Fun name to say. And Jimmy Malin played conga drums on Almost Human. So lots of personnel, but this was sort of the last proper Kiss album in terms of the guys made this record.
Yeah, this is kind of the last one that people look at, you know, like you said, the original four, Peter playing on everything, before, you know, the solo albums, before they went quote unquote disco with Dynasty. So I think a lot of people look at this as like the last of the, you know, that original six with that classic Kiss sound for sure.
All right, so let's get into it. This album kicks off with I Stole Your Love, an up-tempo song, perfect opening track, one of my favorite Kiss openers, and it just kicks off with that intro and Paul going, all right! And he also did the first solo, as I mentioned, and that second solo just really smokes. I love the little exclamations by Paul throughout this album. Guitar!
Oh, nothing introduces a guitar solo better than when somebody says guitar or mama or something to kind of get to let you know the solo's coming. Yeah. Incredible opener for sure.
Where do you guys put this amongst their opening tracks? Have you done? I may have missed it, but have you done an opening tracks show episode of Shout It Out Loudcast?
We did do that. Yes.
Where did this one slot in?
Oh God,
do you remember?
Honestly, I want to say, for me, I gotta say I can't imagine it wouldn't be my number one. I know we did this episode quite a while ago, but I have to say it's my number one because we did a Love Gun album review. People know where I stand with this, so I'm pretty sure I would be shocked if I did not have this as my number one album opener.
Yeah.
It was, Tom.
There you go. Oh, Zeus is looking up our stats. There you go.
The infamous Excel spreadsheet, Tom.
Yeah.
This was your number one. It was my number two.
Okay, there you go.
What did you have above it, Zeus?
The better album opener.
Which one?
The album that's better than this.
Oh, Detroit Rock City.
Me and Tom have this rival all the time. I'm more of a Destroyer guy, and I had Detroit Rock City.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with anybody picking Detroit Rock City. So
yeah, these are all Kiss albums. So I always try to say, like, when you rank the 10th best Kiss opening track, it still would probably be number 25 for me of all the albums out there. So just because it's that low, because this is our favorite band. So I have this as number 2. So you can imagine how much I like the song.
Yeah. Rankings are always tough. I mean, you just have to, something has to be first and something can't be first just by default. So but it's a really strong opener to this album. And then we go into Christine 16, written by Gene Simmons. I Stole Your Love was written by Paul. And this was the first single on the album. And it reached number 25 on the Hot 100, number 20 on Cashbox. Does anybody remember Cashbox at all?
I remember hearing the name Cashbox, but I don't really remember anything other than hearing the name.
I'd be the same, yeah.
Piano. Starts off with some piano. This is not a Kiss instrument, but Eddie Kramer plays it, and it's an integral part of the song, and it's a creepy song. When I was a kid and I was 12 years old listening to the song, 16-year-old girls were like much older. That I didn't even think about it, but now I go, that spoken word part with I don't usually say things like this to girls your age, and I'm like, wow,
not good.
That's not a good look.
Not good. That being said, the song is, to me, it's one of the catchiest, hookiest it just shows, and that's one of the things I love about this album. I think for me, I guess I'll save this for the end and we kind of wrap up the album, but there's just so many different things that this album checks off. And there's such a pop sensibility to this song. You get your ears blown out with I Stole Your Love with Paul, and then you get Gene kind of singing a real poppy melodic song, very hooky. Obviously the lyrics are ridiculous and horrendous, especially
wait.
What?
She's been around, but she's young and clean.
Yeah, just
is she has she been around or is she clean?
Yeah, I like how he says, but
yeah,
she's young. Like, really? Thanks, Gene, for the clarification.
Exactly. Go ahead. I'm sorry to mean to interrupt you.
No. I'm done. Nope. Zeus, take it from here.
You also forget that it also got, because of, you said pop sensibility, it also got clipped and sampled in the 80s.
That's right.
Tone Loc's Funky Cold Medina.
That's right.
Remember that?
The riff. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this is the song that I remember where I was and and this was middle school. And I tell the story, I think in our first episode, Tom, I say I was in Davis Square at Big Fish, Little Fish, and WAAF had played it. And I remember Christine. And so when you hear that chorus, and I haven't heard that chorus since I was like 5, I'm like, holy, it comes right back to you. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember this. Yep. This is catchy as hell.
Yep.
And you go and you gravitate towards it. And look, everybody remembers when we were growing up and you were in middle school or you were in high school, that some of the girls in your class were hanging out with guys that were way past high school level, right? And you didn't think anything of it. It's like, oh, and you're like, oh, that guy's crazy. And he's like picking up high school chicks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they were doing back then. Now, you're getting cuffed and stuffed.
Yeah.
You're getting away with that now.
Yeah.
All right.
I was just going to say the Matthew McConaughey character in Days of Confused, there's a reason that character is kind of...
Because it was true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. This was, I'm glad you brought up the Tone Loc thing. I remember the first time I heard Funky Cold Medina, I went, that's Christine 16.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know you were allowed to do that back then.
Yeah, that's right. The crazy thing about this too, when the single was released, the B-side was Shock Me, which is to this day still the way the band gives the finger to Ace, like, you'll be on the B-side to this ridiculous song, Ace.
And how they did it to Peter too.
Exactly. That's right. They put Beth on the backside.
Put it on the backside. Put
That's
Beth
right.
on it. Right.
That's right. So
what do you want? We put your song on the single.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Man, you ungrateful, you two ungrateful guys. It was according to interviews, Eddie and Alex Van Halen played on the original demo, and Gene made Ace copy Eddie's solo, and Gene played rhythm guitar on this song. Why? Have you guys ever uncovered why he played rhythm guitar on this particular song?
No, they like kind of like the thing with Paul playing bass on certain songs, and even moving ahead. Bruce Kulick did stuff like that, play bass here, play lead here. I don't know. I don't know if it was maybe a touch that they personally enjoyed themselves, maybe other, but that happened a lot with a lot of the Kiss stuff they had going on.
I like to blame Bob Ezrin on this, because prior to this stuff wasn't happening. As soon as Ezrin came in, it's like, oh, let's just bring this guy in. Once they started getting used to other people doing their part on a song, then it was just, you know what? Paul's like, this is my demo. You know what? Screw it, Gene, I'll just play the bass. Oh, no problem. And then that's what you started seeing. All of a sudden, there's songs that Eric Carr is playing an instrument. Like, what's going on here? Aren't you the bass player, Gene? Why aren't you playing it? But to each their own, that's what they started getting into, these lazy habits.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do? I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I love the lead guitar tone on the song, though. I have to say that's the guitar tones in general on this album are fantastic.
Well, that's one of the things that stands out for me is the Eddie Kramer production. I mean, everybody obviously calls this and Rock and Roll Over the sister albums, because the sound, the tone is very similar. Many people prefer Rock and Roll Over to Love Gun. I'm not going to fight anybody on that, but that Eddie Kramer production, it's just that real raw, kind of dirty garage band sound production that he gets out of Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun. I think that's why most people consider those two albums their favorites, or at least one of those two their favorites.
Yeah. So we go into track 3, Got Love for Sale. Gene wrote that one. Some playing with the channels throughout the album, and including here on this song in the intro. Gene in all his demonic glory is my note on this one, and I really like the Have Love Will Travel backing vocals on it.
I myself and our buddy Steve Wright from another fantastic podcast, Parter Than Hell, we're Love Gun guys. We wave the flag for Gut Love for Sale. One of the, in my opinion, one of the greatest deep cuts in the entire catalog. Another catchy, hooky song. That real understated acoustic guitar underlay that you can hear in the middle of the song. The Have Love Will Travel kind of backing vocals. Gene sounds great. Just a real underrated song. And I think that's one of the things I like about this album is it's a real mix of hits and kind of underrated deep cuts. Yeah. This is definitely one of them for me.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. It's a deep cut. It's getting a little bit more love as the years go by on this album.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that I wish they would ever, just in the middle of their end of the road tour, go, we got a one we haven't pulled out ever. This one's called Gut Love for Sale. And they start playing it live. And I think everybody's head would be blown off, right?
Yep. Agreed.
But we never got the chance, and we're never going to get it.
Probably not.
No. That would be amazing. So we go into Ace's contribution, Shock Me. Ace intended for Gene to sing this, but it ends up being Fraley's first lead vocal based on an actual event before a show in Lakeland, Florida, which is not too far from where I live. One of the great, all-time great Kiss solos, actually one of the great rock and roll solos. And Ace plays everything but the drums on this thing.
Yep. Yeah, to me, this is Ace's greatest solo. I know a lot of people will argue about some other ones. Whether you're talking about the solo from Alive 2 or the studio version solo, to me, it's his greatest solo. It's my personal favorite Ace song. Zeus and I talk about this a lot about a lot of the Kiss solos, whether it's a Bruce Kulick solo or an Ace solo. They're memorable, they're hummable, and they fit that specific song. It's not just some noodling that you can throw in the middle of a song. Mm-hmm. This is you hear this is the Shock Me solo. I think Ace sounds great vocally. I mean, everybody knows Ace might not be known for his voice, but I think he sounds great here. The solo is off the charts, and I think it's a great song.
For me, I think it's overrated. I think the solo is fine. I think the chorus is ridiculously stupid.
Put on your black leather. Come on.
Shock me. Why is it a question mark? He's like, every time he sings a song now, it always becomes a question mark. But I like the song. The solo is my favorite part. But everybody's just, Ace has got better songs in the Kiss catalog than this, in my opinion. But it's still good song because it's Kiss.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Michael.
Go ahead.
It's funny. We talk about this a lot. So we're huge Kiss fans, and we've been doing the show 180 something episodes, and it's to the point now where like everything is overrated because all like nothing is under. It's almost like things have come full circle. We're like, remember that song that was underrated? Nah, it's just so overrated. Like you know what I mean? Like there's nothing's really underrated anymore because we just love Kiss. We talk about them constantly. So I mean, Shock Me is a little different. It's been popular since it came out, but I can see what Zeus is saying. Where is it overrated a little bit? Sure. No, I won't fight that.
It's very Ace cultish.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, Shock Me. Oh my God. Okay.
It was number 50. The solo was number 50 on Guitar World's 100 Greatest Guitar Solos.
Nice.
Ace did all of the vocals lying down because he liked the pressure on his chest when he was singing, which that tracks with Ace, I guess.
I think he liked laying down on his back because that's where he was passed out. Hit record. I can't get up. By the way, 50, the solo is number 50. Somebody name me 49 better solos than this. I'm sure you can name maybe 20 or 30 better than this, but come on.
Yeah.
No respect. No respect.
So, yeah, I think I've only heard of one other case of someone doing vocals lying down, and that was Freddie Mercury doing The Show Must Go On.
Oh, wow. Okay.
on Innuendo. But I mean, he was so sick at the time he didn't have the strength to give that vocal performance standing. So
Wow.
yeah, so that was interesting to find that out about Ace lying down doing the vocals and doing everything but the drums. So
so a guy dying, or I'm just messed up, I need to pass out. Wow.
Poor Ace.
yeah. We go into track 5, ending the first side with Tomorrow and Tonight, Paul Stanley. Ow!
Mm-hmm.
I love it. This was an attempt to capture that anthemic rock and roll all night energy. It fell a little bit short of that, but it's a catchy song. And it's got the most un-Paul-like lyric in everybody's high when the week is through. Yeah. When are you high, Paul?
You gotta love when he talks about drinking and drugging. It's hilarious. Now it's funny what I just said about everything being underrated, overrated, whatever. This song to me, and I think Zeus will agree, this is a little bit underrated. I don't think this gets like really like poured over with praise. And I think everybody, and you said it, Michael, and you know it's true. Yeah, they were trying to reach for that rock and roll all night. I think this is a cool song. I think it's a fun anthemic song. I don't have a problem with this one at all.
I think the song is awesome.
Yeah.
It's catchy as all hell. I think the chorus is one of Paul's best. I wish they put it out more as like a single, promoted on other compilations. It's on a live too, but was it really on in a concert? It wasn't, right?
Right.
And so they threw that on there, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, well, they gave it love. They put it on a live, too. Well, I don't know. This is one of the best tracks on the album. I absolutely love this song. And this is what Paul Stanley does better than anyone I know, and that is that catchy hook and that chorus.
Yeah. I mean, like I said that I think it fell a little short of Rock and Roll All Night, but I think it's a heck of a catchy song, and I think it should have been a single. I'm kind of surprised there were only 2 singles off this album.
Yeah, I think the chorus is that makes it a little, with the backing vocals on the chorus a little. It sounds.
But I mean, if you're going to cut it down for a single length, you can cut some of the repetitive chorus out.
Yeah. Yeah, and Michael, you brought up a good point, how there was only 2 singles off of this, and we talked about this on a previous episode. And I know the Double Platinum came out right after Love Gun, but you look at Double Platinum, 20 tracks, only 1 song from Love Gun, and it's the title track. So that could have been a product of the fact that Love Gun just came out, or maybe the band didn't think that the material on Love Gun could keep up with the previous 5 albums for Double Platinum. So again, kind of lending itself to some of the reasons why I love Love Gun is some of the stuff flies under the radar, except for those, 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 songs.
Yeah. It's a great way to end side 1 as well. Let's take a little aside here. You just brought up Double Platinum. Did you, in your research, did you ever uncover why the band felt the need to record Strutter 78?
I think that was because it was 1978, and I think they were looking for something new and of the time, because that original version was so, not to us, but I think for newer listeners, was so dated coming off that 74 debut album recording. It sounded old. I love it. I refer to it as Disco Strutter. I love it. I think it's really cool. Zeus, I know we always have a good time talking about Disco Strutter.
Yeah, I think the original version is very New Yorkish. No, right?
I know. Yep.
Everything, he's got a very accented vocal performance there by Paul. And I think they were looking for a prelude to coming up for Dynasty. Hey, let's make this version a single. This should have been. And look, Tom and I talk about this all the time. I think there's a part of Paul that always he's got to have the next big, like probably in his head, it's like, I really think Strutter should have been a bigger hit. So let's make that the single. My song, the single. And he pushes his song again as being the next single, because in his mind, that first single should have been a bigger hit than it was.
Yep. Okay. Makes sense. We start side 2 with the title track, Love Gun, written by Paul Stanley. Second single on the album. Only made it to number 61 on the Hot 100, which I don't know what was going on in 77 other than disco, but I mean, there probably were not 60 better songs that came out at the time. One of the band's iconic classics, obviously. Paul sings this thing in a style that I think it's a little bit underrated how much influence he had. The way he sings the verses, you can hear echoes of that in bands, the hair metal bands of the 80s. You can hear it in Twisted Sister. You can hear it in Wasp. I mean, that sort of way he sings those verses had an effect, had an impact.
Yeah, I think this is one of those songs we talk about a lot on our show. We use, the term fatigue factor. But I think there's fatigue factor on it because, to me, I think the song is legendary. It's iconic. It's been played on every single Kiss tour since Love Gun was released as an album. It is one of Paul's most incredible vocal performances. Michael, you brought it up, the tone that he uses during those verses. The one thing that I don't really like about it is there's really no true guitar solo. There's kind of a guitar outro, but there's not really like that patented ace solo that's thrown in the middle of the song. The chorus, hooky, catchy, melodic. Again, there's a reason this song is one of those just legendary Kiss singles. It's a great freaking song. It just is.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot, and one of the things I like is the origin of the song.
Yeah,
which comes from the blues song, which Zeppelin then took, and it's on one of my favorite Zeppelin songs, How Many More Times? And then Paul clipped that part of it, and so you can follow that all along. So the Hunter, Albert King, and then you got in the middle of the whole Robert Plant going off in the middle of How Many More Times. And then he said, okay, I'll clip that and I'll make it. You pull the trigger of my love gun. The pre-chorus on this song is what always gets me. No matter how many times I'm fatigued of this, no place for hiding, baby. I love that. It's like him like warning and just telling it like it is. It's become a cliche for us. And we do a Kiss podcast. We've seen this band a million times. Hey, you want to go on the Kiss cruise? They're going to play some deep cuts on this cruise. Oh yeah, all right, Love Gun.
Yeah, that's yep, exactly.
So if I take all my database on my computer and I just put in Love Gun, I think it's going to come up like 50 times from
it's on everything.
The concerts, all the compilations. It's on everything. So it really is hurt by fatigue for me. But you can't question its significance of the band. And Paul swears by this song. It's the greatest song he's ever written. He thinks. Yep. So it's got a lot of spotlight on this song. Let's say.
Yep. I guess you can call it a deep cut because it wasn't a single, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I love the backing vocals where they're going love.
Yes.
Gun.
Very cool, very catchy.
And there's, like you mentioned, there's not a solo per se, but the little just flourishes that are added are amazing, especially the little bridge at the end before they sing the chorus for the final time. That
awesome. Yep.
There's one other thing I want to add. Listen to the versions from Double Platinum and Smashes Thrashes. I think it's Smashes Thrashes, although the production is awful. When they come out of the last chorus, there is no Paul singing Love Gun. It's the chorus and the guitar.
Yes.
You can hear the guitar, Ace just going off. Yep. And they took out Paul's singing the chorus Love Gun. And it's just awesome. It sounds better, except that, the whole production on
production's a mess.
On Smashes Thrashes. But there's a bunch of different little versions of it on the different compilations. Find the one that works for you, because I think Smashes is a better, but the sound isn't as good.
Yeah. Maybe we need a remaster of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh God, that's one of the. That's
as long as they don't put the "I Love It Loud" version of that back on there.
every remixed song on that is just a disaster. We'll save that for when have us back for Smashes Thrashes. We'll talk about that.
All right, that'll be several episodes down the Kiss rabbit hole.
Okay.
After you come out of Love Gun side 2, song 2, Hooligan, Peter Criss enters the picture. Peter and his friend Stan Penridge wrote this. I love this song, even though the lyrics make no sense at all. If you can't even spell your name, but you stayed in school until you were 22, maybe that was a bad life choice. maybe school wasn't your thing. And this song means that all 4 members have a lead vocal song on an album for the first time.
This is where Zeus and I part ways. He's the Peter guy. He loves everything Peter does except for this song, and I love it. I mean, lyrically, Michael, you said it's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous, but it's got a cool kind of groove that what the drums are doing in this. It's got a weird kind of beat, a really unique beat. It's got a really cool little funky solo that Ace does. It's just a unique song. I mean, yeah, it's not Baby Driver. It's not Black Diamond. Obviously, it's not, it's not Beth, I just think it's a unique song. And for me, I'll say the same thing. There's a couple of songs that we're going to get to. To me, I like Hooligan because it exists nowhere else in the discography. It's on Love Gun. So there's no fatigue. It's one of those songs. If I put my Kiss catalog on shuffle, I'm only going to hear Hooligan from Love Gun. It's not like Zeus said, if he goes into his database and looks up Love Gun, it's going to show up on 50 albums. You're going to hear it 50 times. Yeah. Hooligan's not on anything. Now, Zeus might say, yeah, that's because it sucks. But
yeah, I love Peter, but this is just not good. The lyrics are just so stupid. Hooligan. I mean, it's literally like, let's think of a word that'll work. Let's hooligan. How about call me a hooligan? Like, dude, no one's calling you a hooligan.
But he says his granny called him a hooligan.
That's what he said. And I've read his book. Stupid. He was one.
He was a thug.
Yeah, but it's just not a good song, in my opinion.
He won't go to school again. That's because you dropped out of school when you were 22.
Yeah, lyrically, it's a mess. It's a mess.
He went down to the candy store, and if he had a nickel, he'd buy some more.
Yeah, and then people are trying to make it cool by saying, "Oh, who's that? He's talking about buying drugs. It's he's just changing the words." I'm like, I don't think he's that sophisticated. I literally think he went to go buy a Tootsie Roll and he didn't have a nickel.
I mean, back in those days, he probably could have got a Clark bar for a nickel.
Yeah. Well, there's a throwback.
I just love his vocal on it. I think he just sells out on this. And I think despite the ridiculous lyrics, I think he just makes me believe it. And I like the backing vocals. I think to make Gene sing backing vocals on this, as ridiculous as the lyrics were, I mean, they put it on the album. And
exactly. Yeah.
And I can't imagine sitting in that room. I mean, I would have thought Gene would have been one like, this is not good enough, Peter. I'm sorry. But
what are we doing?
That's not Gene. That's Paul. And Paul's whispering it to everybody else, not saying it directly to Peter.
Yeah.
This is Paul's probably like, this is terrible, but put it on so we'll show that Peter's an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll do it, and we'll do that again on Psycho Circus when I make him sing I Finally Found My Way.
Oh man. And it, no compilations. It could be a lot of things. That it could be Peter Criss gets a writing credit on this. No, we don't.
It's on Icons though, to be fair.
Yeah, Icons has
that's a box set.
Yeah, Icons is like that's a unique compilation. Yeah.
And it has every song Peter did in Kiss, so of course it's there. Yeah.
That's an interesting collection. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Almost Human, Gene Simmons. This is a song I have to admit that I did not care for originally, but in the build up to this recording, listening to the album over and over, this song really grew on me. I don't know why, it just did. Gene's groan at the beginning, I think I think that's the sound he made when he found out he ate pot brownies at the at the after show party. Conga drums in this song. It's, to me, I just found so much to like late in the song when you got that just growling, screeching guitar work that it's almost grunge at the end of this song.
Perfectly said. Another reason why this album is special to me, another song that you're not going to find anywhere else. And again, Zeus could be like, that's because it sucks.
Yeah.
But, I love it because to me, it's one of the most underrated, truly demonic demon tracks. It's creepy. The lyrics paint a picture. of the story he's telling. I think those congas add a little bit of a kind of a mysterious sound to it. The chorus used to scare the shit out of me when I was a little kid. That haunting, like I'm almost here, like that, just that haunting thing. And then Michael, you said that noisy solo that Ace is doing there. It's just a mess, but it's so cool. And then it comes back. His voice sounds awesome. The song is unique. It's different. And again, it's a song that I'm not going to hear unless I specifically seek it out on Love Gun.
Yeah.
Rebuttal from Zeus now.
No.
Exactly. It's like a debate.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. It's a goofy song and it's okay. Yeah. I don't think it's bad, but I always joke about it, and we talked about it when we reviewed this album. It's only Kiss could do this song. It's 1977. Totally. Can you picture Gene being in the Eagles going, "Put aside Hotel California, I've got a song for you. This one's called Almost Human."
And it starts off with,
like, that's where it's almost like you kind of understand Rolling Stone. They're like, okay, Steely Dan's got this new album. Led Zeppelin's got this. And that. Now I got Almost Human.
But that's why we love Kiss.
I know. But you almost see where they get this ammunition to not take Kiss seriously sometimes. Oh, yeah. This song is fun, and then he does he loves to do that. Anytime Hot comes up in a Kiss catalog, any song, Gene's always it's fun. I don't have a problem with it. It's just not one of the better songs in the Kiss catalog. That's all.
Yeah.
Another thing that stuck out to me on the re-listens was the bass work. I think this is some of the best bass work on the album. So
yeah.
Like I said, I didn't really originally like this song very much. It's kind of grown on me. And maybe for that reason, Tom, that you said, it's one of those songs that I didn't play to death, that I didn't hear to death on every compilation, that I didn't hear on the radio, that doesn't maybe come up in my shuffle very often. I was surprised at how much I liked it listening to it in preparation for this show. So
nice.
Almost Human, and I'm with you. The Almost Human, that part, I that used to make me cringe a little bit, but I actually kind of liked it now. So we go right back to Gene on track 9 with Plaster Caster, based on the exploits of Cynthia Albritton, a former groupie who made casts of rock stars dorks. Cynthia sadly died this year on April 21st. So there's 2 deaths related to this album this year. I love the bass intro to this song, and it seems a pretty obvious choice of subject matter for Gene, because it's about a penis, and about gets to talk about his love and how it's perfection and all of that. But it's a really catchy song, and I love the backing vocals and the guitar work in this song.
Again, you're following up a heavy, dark, demonic Gene song with another song where his pop sensibilities are shining through, like with Christine 16. Tremendous song. I mean, an unbelievable hook. The bridge going into the chorus, like you said, that bass intro. There's so much going on in this song, and all of it I think is fantastic. And you can't, for me personally, I'm sure Zeus will say the same thing. You can't talk about this song without talking about how amazing the MTV Unplugged version of this is. Just it's spectacular. And to me, when a song sounds that good unplugged, that is how you know it's a good song. Maybe you don't like the lyrics, maybe you don't like the band who's singing it, but you can't deny that this is a well-crafted, it's a pop song, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
The best song on the album.
Okay. Yeah.
It is the best song on this album. It is about as catchy as all hell. And usually those hooks and choruses are Paul's wheelhouse.
Yep.
But Gene hits it out of the park. This is the Gene Beatles side of him comes out, and you can catch it on a lot of tracks that he does. And you're like, wow, this is really that pop sensibility that he has. The chorus is probably one of my favorite choruses. And when they do the outro and the band is screaming back, the call and answers they're doing, absolutely fantastic. There's never a time I don't like hearing this song.
Yeah.
It is so, and then when you throw in the whole pop culture reference to it, I think this song should have been a bigger hit, and a bit more love to it shown in the Kiss catalog, because this is very unique. And when they pulled it out on Unplugged, I was so happy.
Yeah.
Great version.
It's such a simple thing to throw in those little faster, those little flourishes in there, those little backing vocal parts. You have to have the thought, we should put this in here, and then you have to execute it. And that's one of the things that they do so well in some of their songs. They're just such good pop songwriters. I think these guys could have written a ton of songs for other artists that, maybe when Kiss wasn't cool, they could have probably supplemented some income by just maybe don't write about your penis so much, maybe write about some other things and use those pop sensibilities.
No, I think that's well said. I think you look at their ability to craft a hooky melodic pop song, and yeah, it's always about sex or women or whatever. And I think that's why a lot of people, poo-poo Kiss. Like, oh, those guys can't write songs. Oh no, they can write songs and they can write them well. You just don't like what they're writing about.
Yeah.
Because you can't deny their ability to write songs. I mean, look at their entire catalog. Lyrically, you might think it's silly or stupid or whatever, but that's a pop song through and through, and this is a perfect example of a successful one of that.
I mean, it's rock and roll is largely about sex. So they're following a formula, a path to success that Gene and Paul had, and you can't deny that they are one of the most successful acts in rock history.
No
Play
doubt.
this in your car and tell me you don't sing the chorus back to Gene.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody does.
Or when the laster comes on, you don't wait for that specific part where it changes from faster, laster. Oh, it's just it's one of those things that when you like music, those little tingly things you hear in your ears, you're like, oh my God. It's music.
That's right.
All right, we're closing the album now with Then She Kissed Me, a cover song, the only cover on the album by a song originally done by the Crystals, which was co-written by the great Phil Spector. And I'm guessing that's Peter on the castanets in this song.
Yeah, I'm going to be on an island here, and I'm going to talk about this song for what it is. Obviously, was it necessary? No. Would we have liked to see something else? Maybe, Larger Than Life or Rocket Ride or All American Man could have been on here, or take something from Paul's Soul and put on it. Yeah, of course. It's if they're going to do something ridiculous like this, because it is ridiculous. You're Kiss, you're on top of the world, and you're throwing this on. I like what they're doing musically. Those castanets, and then when the song goes into the regular standard rock rhythm at the end, the tone of the guitar during the outro of the song, it's very like harmonic sounding and melodic and hooky. Paul sounds amazing vocally, but that being said, it's not needed. It's not needed, but if they're going to do it, and they did it well, I think, if it's possible to say that. I think musically, I think it really sounds interesting, especially that outro. I think it's pretty cool, but I wish it kind of didn't exist.
Zeus, are we getting a rebuttal on this one?
No, I mean, I like the song. It's a catchy pop song that, do we need it? No, but again, it's a Kiss song, so they put their little spin on it. It's not a bad song.
Right.
And they don't do a bad version of it, but did they have anything else that they could have pulled out and put on here instead? Yeah, I don't know if this is Paul's like, hey, let's show the critics that we can do a good old-fashioned rock and roll kind of R&B track or something. I don't know why they thought about doing it, but, what could they have put on here? Reputation? I Know Who You Are? What else do they?
Reputation's actually not a bad song.
No, but I'm saying,
but it's a Gene song, so
yeah. And I don't know. Maybe this is Paul's way of like, I need to be the balladeer and the romance guy, and let's throw this song out there.
Yeah.
Well, you can't have Gene having 3 songs to end the album and messing with the balance. I mean, the first song is a Paul song, and Paul sings the final song, so he gets the first say and the last say here.
Yep.
I think it's a good song. I enjoy it. The only criticism I have of it really is that it doesn't seem to fit with the other 9 songs on this album.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you've just gone through an amazing album, the first one to feature all 4 members singing vocals, pop songs, heavy songs, whatever. And then you throw this in here, and as we've come to know Paul, Zeus said it. This is Paul, paying his homage to his roots, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I just find it really curious when you are like sitting on top of the world right now, and maybe that's exactly why Paul thought he could do it. Hey, we're sitting on top of the world. They'll like anything we do.
We can do whatever we want.
Exactly, and he was right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would have fit a lot better on his solo album, but again, I don't skip it. I think it's fine. It's catchy, and I do love the guitar tone. It's it's a little bit of throwback to that older time, but it's still identifiably a Kiss guitar part.
Agreed.
But they couldn't do anything else. There's no way Paul's going to do less songs than Gene on an album.
Oh, no.
Gene already had 4.
Yep.
If you take this away from Paul, he has 3. No way is that happening.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe Paul didn't have anything else loaded up and ready to roll that he liked or something. But man, that's it. That's our walk through Love Gun. I don't know where I mean, I know that Tom, this holds a very special place for you. Zeus, I'm not going to pin you down and ask you what number you have it in, but is this a top 5 Kiss album for you? Top 10? Where do you place it?
So for the albums that we have reviewed so far, there's some we haven't yet. I think we haven't done Hotter Than Hell, Destroyer, Peter Criss Solo, Lick It Up, Dynasty, Carnival of Souls, and Sonic Boom. We haven't done that. Everything else we've done as far as albums. Tom has this ranked number 1. I have this ranked number 5.
Okay.
So
I already know how you feel about Destroyer, so it's going to slip out of your top 5.
Yeah, and it could slip even more because there's a couple more albums coming up. But again, this is a Kiss album. Yeah. So if you put it, maybe it still could be my top 20 albums.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, this has been a lot of fun. I just this is one of the ones that I had on vinyl in my original vinyl collection, and it has a special place for me as well. I would say it's probably right around that 5, maybe 6 spot for me. I haven't really actually done the rankings, but I know that I'm a little higher on the 2 albums prior to this one, and I probably have a couple odd ones that I like that maybe some other Kiss fans don't like. It's not The Elder, but I do like a lot of The Elder. It's just some of it is a little too much.
Too much.
Yeah, but it's a classic album from a classic era of the band. They're still playing these songs today, some of them, and I know you guys would like to maybe rotate some of those out, but I enjoyed seeing some of these songs performed in '96. It's actually the only time I got to see the band was after they reformed, and I kind of was angry with the band when Peter and Ace were out. I gathered the stories and I understood why they did what they did, but I did not agree with the decision to, if you didn't have immediate success, to bail on the idea that you could have other characters in Kiss. I didn't. I liked Eric Carr's Fox, and I thought that. I mean, kind of the Ankh Warrior was kind of stupid, but
it looked cool, but it was kind of weird.
Yeah, makeup was kind of cool, and I thought it was something they could have done if they had stuck with it. And just people don't like change. You have to get them used to the change, and I don't think that they really gave it a fair shot. And then they took the makeup off, and first they did the fake out with Unmasked, and then they really did it. And I just remember seeing those MTV videos, and I thought to myself, I knew it. I knew Gene was an ugly son of a gun.
Yeah, it's true. But in terms of Love Gun, I think the reason, I mean, obviously for Kiss fans or music fans, nostalgia carries a lot of weight on where you like an album. But even putting the nostalgia aside, I think this album, just like I said earlier, checks off so many boxes for me. It's produced by Eddie Kramer. I love his style. It's the first one where you get vocals from all 4 members. For me, it's got a great mix of hits, staples, some mid-level hits, and then some truly, truly deep cuts. And it's a Gene heavy album. So for me, when I put all that together, it's a go-to album. But like Zeus said, it doesn't mean that Rock and Roll Over or Harder Than Hell aren't amazing in their own right. It's just this one is just a little bit more for me. And I think the nostalgia factor probably pushes it over the top a little bit more.
Yeah. One of the better album covers as well, I think, from the early years of Kiss. I just
Yep.
Destroyer's great. This one's great. I spent hours tracing the Rock and Roll Over cover with, I put paper over it and I would take a pencil. I just loved that design. Whatever the laser shooting out of Ace's eyes, whatever those things were. And I think that was a run of albums where I stared at those covers for so many hours as a kid while my Sears stereo dropped the next record and the next record. And I looked through should I join the Kiss Army? Should I not join the Kiss Army? That kind of thing. And it just brought us so much joy as children. And the fact that it still brings us this joy as adults, it's not just nostalgia, it's that the songs are good and they hold up.
Sure. Yeah. And it's funny trying to tell Kiss fans, or I should say non-Kiss fans, that you're listening to Kiss as an adult. I mean, I work with people who they know that I'm a Kiss freak, that I've been on one cruise, I'm going on the second, and they always just kind of like chuckle, like, they know that I like them, but they're like, I don't get it. That band with the makeup and the blood, and I'm like, yeah, that band, but listen, use your ears, use your ears. Don't look at them, and and you'll be able to tell that they have some great stuff.
Yeah, it's more than a tongue and some fire breathing and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Tell me, guys, or tell my listeners where folks can find your excellent show. Where can you be found on the internet? I know you practice this. You guys do this every
Tom, where can people find us?
Yeah, there you go. Honestly, so our show is we drop every Saturday, our Kiss related episodes, and we're on all the big podcast platforms out there, wherever you can hear podcasts. Best place, honestly, go to our website, shoutitoutloudcast.com. That's got all the information about our show, our episodes, everything. We have those monthly episodes with our friend Sonny. We do the album review crew where we do non-Kiss related album reviews. Our most recent one just dropped. We did Y&T Black Tiger. So we rotate those picks every month. So yeah, check us out. Our website's the best place. And, please give us a shot. If you like Kiss, if you like some comedy and some kind of crazy stuff going on with the band, you'll love our show. And we're on all the social media. So you can look for us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. But the website's the best place, shoutitoutloudcast.com.
I will recommend that your first listening experience to Shout It Out Loudcast, maybe don't do it in the car when your young children are in the back seat.
Excellent advice. Be careful. Parental guidance suggested.
Yeah, there's a label. There's a warning label on this podcast
for a reason. Yes.
Oh, Tom and Zeus from the Shout It Out Loudcast. This has been an absolute blast. I knew it would be. Thank you so much for your time. I enjoyed talking Love Gun with you, and we'll have to have you back on to talk some more Kiss down the road.
Michael, thank you so much. This has been a blast talking about my all-time favorite album. Thanks so much.
Michael, thank you very much. Much appreciated, buddy. We hope we see you soon, bud.